Welcome to the highlight show for week 31 of Ultimate Pool The Masters. Two Ultimate Pool pros in this week's group, Edgar and Karl Boys. Gio will play Dan Wells, Karl will play Scott Crawley. Let's get straight into our first match then, Edgar versus Dan Wells. The first 4 frames were shared and Dan Wells has the break in frame 5.
You think he's got a real future in the game?
Absolutely. He's been highly regarded for a long time. A lot of people, especially up in Scotland, have been talking about this young lad coming through. And so easy to judge him on Ultimate Pool terms, look at results and stuff and question that because the results haven't been there for him. But you've got to remember, when he joined Ultimate Pool, he was, still a teenager. Very 16. Young man, 16. So and
he's only just learned how to drive in the last couple of years.
And I've been very impressed with a few things actually. The way he sees the game, the way he's willing to learn and takes defeat, and his temperament out there is also very impressive. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he progresses over the next few years.
Yeah, I think it's often a case of, when we get these super young players, with all the talent in the world, it's easy to expect big things. But, we've got world champions on the Ultimate Pool circuit who still haven't won a tournament and all the rest of it. And there's plenty of players who've struggled to get going, not just those of Gio's young age. He missed a trick there. Hands over yellows. He had to take on a difficult double.
He probably felt it would have, to him anyway, would have felt like frame ball the way these are laid out. Certainly, he'll feel like he's going to lose the frame now, the way these are laid out, especially with that little cannon from Dan in the first shot, just to pop the 8 ball over the pocket. These really are all there.
So Dan's got a shot to play here. He's got a couple of options as well, really. Just wants to get a little bit of nip on this, does he? No, he's going to use the one at the top.
I think he's just a little bit worried that I suppose it doesn't really need to get past the red to get onto the 8 ball, just bump into it and it will cut back. I was thinking if the red was going to get into play, then you don't really want to be playing either ones to the centre pocket last ball, but it won't be a problem. 8 ball is close enough.
Oh, high standard so far. Really high standard so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Mistakes are being punished. Players making a couple of nice finishes.
Dan won the next 2 frames as well to open up a 3-frame advantage. Gio responded by winning the next 2 and has the break at 5-4 behind.
Well, surely he's picked his old buddy.
Well, I had first pick this week, and because I'm a nice guy, I didn't want to deprive Scott of picking Dan, so I went for the group favourite in Karl Boys. And I know that Scott didn't pick Dan, which was poor of him. But I can't remember if he picked Gio or not. I actually think he picked Daryl, who's pulled out. So might not be a good week for Scott.
No. And have you decided on a?
No, we're still waiting.
We're
still waiting on that. So any nominations, any ideas for a forfeit for this year's prediction battle, let us know. Last year, if you didn't see it, it was a dip in the ocean in January, which Scott had to do, and to his credit, he did do it.
Against literally everyone's advice, including the Coast Guards.
Yeah, we had to go and try and do it twice because the Coast Guard got involved and said, no, you can't.
I think they actually said, "What are you doing?"
It was very funny.
Dan's back in here, though. Whilst we propagate that sort of nonsense, let's get back to the action because it's heating up in a major way. It's a big visit to the table for Dan Wells.
It is a big visit to the table because of the way the last 2 frames has gone. He's had an opportunity in that previous frame, and this is not a guaranteed out, far from it. The red below the 8 ball could become a problem ball. I'm assuming the one on the right-hand side does pass to the bottom right. In fact, he's played on it, tells us it does. So he needs a good angle on the one to left centre to drift onto the one below the 8 ball. The 8 ball sort of in the way. Just to finish off what we were saying on the picking battle, I've just been informed by Stuart Barnes that it was Edgar that Scott picked. So he does have a live player, which is good.
Pleased for him. And great that I'm assuming Scott's at home watching this, cheering on Dan's opponent.
He is sat at home watching. He's been messaging me during the show, so yeah, fully invested in this match. Said he's feeling like an expectant father at the moment, and this is a big shot.
And it's a very good one. It's a very good one. This is a really impressive visit to the table.
I think he's just about okay here in terms of getting to the centre of the cue ball. Otherwise, if it was the yellow was half a roll further right, it would be awkward. Yeah, he can just get to the centre.
Oh, now then.
I'll mark that one down. That is a massive moment in this match.
Did so much good work.
A little bit messy at the bottom of the table here for Joe, but he'll be thrilled to get to the table.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely thrilled. And that's come out really nicely for him. The yellow does pass the 8 ball to the top right. Be interesting to see when does he deal with the 2 yellows at the top of the table. So assuming he uses the yellow next to the 8 ball to connect to the one on the top, I don't think the one at the top is a great last ball for the 8 ball. So does he leave a yellow down the table or not? I would be tempted. And Gio looks like he is as well. Thought he might come down the left-hand side of the table. We got into that a little bit. And we'll swing this 2 cushions now. Which I guess gave him more margin of error playing it this way. He's always going to be tracking into a nice area.
Yeah, it's another very fine visit to the table. And no nerves on that 8 ball.
The next two frames were shared, and the clock ran out in frame 30, meaning we're going to a 6-red shootout.
I'm going to assume all of you know how it works by now, but just in case you don't, cue ball and object ball must be still. The rest can still be moving, and now Edgar has to move all these 6 reds in the quickest time possible. Had to take a miss there with that ball, couldn't pot it.
He took a long time to take the miss there. This is not going to be a good effort.
Get through these 3 relatively quickly, he needs to. It's going to be about 30 seconds, it's going to be north of it. Yeah, just over 30. You have to say it's above par. 31-11 to beat. Oh, pretty horrible break. He is up against it here, you know. Can he keep his head?
He's okay if he pots out. He doesn't have to go crazy here. Bad start, yes. And the cue ball does have to move on the last, well, this shot here. But he's going to be tight. This is going to be tight.
Oh, that's not a good shot. This is close. Needs to make it, doesn't. And Edgar is going to get over the line. Disappointment for Dan Wells. The Storm thought he was heading home, but relief for the young man who qualifies through to the group final.
Time to find out who Edgar will play in tonight's group final, Scott Crawley or Karl Boys. Scott Crawley won the opening frame with a lovely clearance before Karl Boys got going and rattled off 6 very quickly. Scott Crawley has the break in frame 8.
Deserves a ball, hit them brilliantly. No reward for it though.
You really can feel a little bit for Scott Crawley tonight on the break. It has been really tough on him.
Yeah, and I'm looking for problems here on this table, and I'm not seeing any. I mean, yellows are the colour set, but I don't think Karl would struggle with the reds, to be honest with you. Well, I say I don't think he'd struggle with the reds. He's struggling with the yellows. That's the worst shot he's played tonight. He has got that one all wrong. Good recovery pot. The only danger he's got here, and I was going to say he's going to get rid of it on the left-hand side, is if he goes down the table off the one on the right, the one on the left could become a slight problem. He probably was always leaving that yellow he's just played as last ball on his original route, but he doesn't have the ones up the table to get connected to the one he's just played, which is why he's taking it now. And 8 balls over left centre, so any of them really work as a last ball, but certainly wasn't his original plan when he came to the table, though.
Well, this for 7-1. It's been a super performance, really, from Karl Boys, who, you get the sense, hasn't really come out of second gear, but nevertheless. One last chance then for Scott Crawley to stay alive.
The only slight issue on the Karl Boys' performance so far has been the break. Hit them pretty well, but 5 breaks in the match, successful once. Not what we're used to seeing from Karl at all.
No.
And not the layout you look forward to when you're 7-1 behind. There is nothing inviting about this layout at all. That does open up the yellow at the bottom of the table, but not on anything else. the yellow nearest the two reds on the right-hand side, in the right centre pocket. It was going to be a far tougher task to open up.
Ooh, nearly.
Oh, I thought that one was dropping.
Yeah, me too.
I think it helps him that it doesn't. There's no finish on for him. I think he'd have got himself into more trouble if he'd kept going. But turn the table over and see what Karl's got for us. Not a lot.
Yeah, it's still tough, mind.
Yeah, I still don't see how he opens up the yellow on nearest the right centre pocket. Unless you can see enough of the yellow at the bottom of the table to screw into it. Or maybe he can. Just got to be careful. He could stick on the red and snooker himself. Oh, that's perfect. Cushion first. Meant he was always guaranteed to be on this yellow. Only downside is he's on it with a bad angle. He's going to have to go up the table, leave the one to right centre for later on. So you only want to make one of these two at the top, leave one over the pocket, then you've got the right centre to follow. And then you have to play that positional shot from the top right down to the bottom end of the table. It's not that easy. There is a nice wide open space, but he wants to get down somewhere near straight or past the straight on the yellow. And he isn't. If he's going into the red full ball and stops it dead, he can clip the 8 ball back. If he goes to the underside of the red, cue ball's going down the table and he's not going to have a huge amount of control on it. This is not easy. Yeah. Hit the red full enough that he was okay.
He's really fighting out there, Scott Crawley. He's not going anywhere just yet. 7-2. Golden break. Golden break. Whisper it, Simon. Whisper it.
Telling you, comeback's on.
Well, the one thing I would say for Scott Crawley is he has had such little reward off his break all night that if anyone deserved a golden break, it would probably be him. And he's absolutely smashed the break. There's nothing wrong with it all night. Oh, now then.
Oh, look at these yellows. Oh, here we go, Scott. Come on. I mean, we're having a little bit of tongue-in-cheek saying the comeback's on, but in all seriousness, you know, it's 7-3. This is as good as it gets for 7-4, and it's his break. I know it's, you know, when you're 7-1 down, you know, it's a tall order, but in his own mind, he's got to be believing and thinking, right, next time Karl touches the table, it's 7-5. That is how he has to think. There is nothing in the way here. Control yourself, mind your work. That's a little bit loose, that one. He's overscrewed that by 1.5 foot, 2 foot for me. You wanted to be on the right-hand yellow.
He's still not got that cue ball yet.
Yeah, and the reason I say the right-hand yellow is now that could become a slightly problematic ball. If he's straight enough in on it now to the top right, I'd be tempted to take it. Because what he could end up with here, he could end up too straight on the one at the bottom of the table and then end up still having to play that shot. Yeah, he isn't though. Left himself loads of angle.
whisper it. Scott Crawley is creepy crawling his way back into this match.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a very good one.
Oh, I tell
What's
you
the
what.
leave like? Okay, he's got more work than the last frame. He has got more work for sure. Two reds on the left-hand side, awkward. Red on the right-hand side, awkward. Two yellows on the right-hand side, awkward. Oh, Scott. Oh, dear. I was about to make the point that I actually think red's maybe the easier colour set here. Depends on how you wanted to deal with those two yellows on the right-hand side. But you had more weapons to deal with the reds, as in the two reds on the left are a plant, and then all the reds kind of have goes. So
Total miscue.
looks like Karl agrees with me and is going to take the reds on. Obviously, it's a different story now that the yellows moved a little bit as well, but I think reds may have been the argument anyway, although it's probably a marginal call. I thought Karl was going to play on the one he's next to, into the left centre, then play the plant, but he's decided to go this way round. Maybe he knew he was going to miss the plant. Can Scott play the loss of turn top left and keep it safe? That's what he's got to ask himself. This feels like a little bit of a gamble.
Loss of turn.
Well, he's covered the two to the right of the table. Karl can very obviously see one. Can he pot it?
It does go. It's a tough pot, but you're kind of almost forcing him to go because there's no safety option. So that's why I say it's a gamble. Gamble that's going to pay off.
All right then. Scott Crawley.
He may have to make that awkward shot on the yellow he's next to, top right, and nip it. Almost try and get the cue ball middle of the break line or possibly just below it. If he does manage to do that, he may be able to clip the one in top left and play the cannon to the two together off the one at the top of the table. He may be looking at safety options here. May not like what I've just suggested. Clip off. If you play safe, for me, you've got to play safe off the two yellows together, but very risky to actually whether you'd hide all the reds. That looks lovely. You can pick a natural line here. Don't have to play it with any sort of pace. You don't want it to sort of throw wide on you or anything like that. You just want to basically just squeeze into the two yellows. They'll just pop open. It could have been better. He played the shot well, just skimmed off the first yellow. If he catches it fuller, it's perfect. Didn't want the cannon on the yellow. Well, he probably played the cannon on the yellow, but he didn't want it to go like that. They were set as a pretty nice plant that if you get behind it, you'd make it pretty much every time. Now they're not. So may just have to drop this in and play the double to the corner. Not ideal. Because it's not just the double to the corner. Unless he's got the absolute perfect angle, getting on the other yellow is going to be tricky. See enough to clip this in. He's coming around to have a look, but I think the cue ball might flick the other yellow. He did flick the other yellow.
What's he got? He's got a shot. He's got a shot.
He'd be saying to himself, how have I ended up here? But he's okay. You don't have to worry about the cue ball here. Just make the pot. The cue ball's going to come 2 cushions. You're going to have 8 ball bottom right. You don't have to try and hammer this in and get on it in left centre. Just float this in. Just cue it nice.
He's not going to fluke it. That probably should be that. It was a tough pot. It really was. But that will probably be that for the Broski fight back.
Possibly a faint hope because Karl's left himself on the cushion, but we are clutching at straws for Scott to get back to the table. Cued that nicely.
Yeah, this one is over. Box office is going to survive a bit of a fight back. Full credit to Scott Crawley, he really made a game of it. And can go away with his head held high. But it is Karl Boys who gets through.
On to our group final, Edgar versus Karl Boys. And Karl Boys won the opening 2 frames with lovely clearances before Gio responded with 2 of his own. We join Karl with a break in frame 5.
Is that a change of break for Karl Boys as well?
Looked like he went a little bit straighter in on it.
I think he also went hand on the cushion again. So both players changing their break. I mean, that is brilliant, really.
It shows you how much power he's got to spare in terms of when he goes hand on the table. That's his controlled power break, as in he's not hitting it as hard as he can.
It's so effortless, the power, isn't it? It really is. Just all in the timing.
Make a case for both colour sets once again. Yellows, but what does he do with the yellow nearest the right centre pocket?
That's your answer. Although I don't think that's particularly helped him.
No, not ideal at all.
He's not got much angle on this one to the middle pocket.
I'd be surprised if he was playing that cannon. I wonder if he was trying to slide by it and get onto the bottom end of the table first. He wasn't happy with his first shot. He left himself very awkward on that next one.
Just going to try and play as straight as possible on the one at the bottom. Can he just nudge into the 2?
He can definitely get into them. It's just how he wants to. Does he play yellow off red and try and come back? Does he play it clean and go into them? Certainly not guaranteed to go right. Plays it off the red, and plays it off the red really nicely.
Yeah, it's a lovely shot. It's just classy, isn't it? It's a really just consistently high level from Karl Boys.
You also feel like with Karl, it's really high, but it's also still a work in progress at the same time, in terms of he's not fully on it with his cue ball control yet. And he tells us when we're chatting to him that he's still not fully on it in terms of seeing the patterns and seeing the game yet either.
This for the lead back. Never in doubt, was it? will be absolutely fascinating to see how he gets on. That's the best break Gio's hit all night by some considerable distance, and that is dry. What a stupid game we play.
Yep, drives you mad.
That is objectively a very good break.
Yeah, a very good leave as well. All these yellows have pockets. They connect up fairly well. Couldn't do a huge amount with his first shot. He was going into that red, but had the one over the pocket. The only yellow that could maybe become half a problem, you feel, is the yellow below the two reds, but he might have the angle to play on it straight away to the same pocket as the one he's about to play, and there may be more room than you think to play it to the bottom left. But the problem for me, if playing on it to bottom left, is if every chance you've got an angle when you're definitely going to be going into the reds then. You could see there clearly, goes into the same pocket comfortably, and he had the angle to get onto it. He'd love you've got the two yellows on the right hand side. If the inside one, the one nearest the centre of the tower, there you go, if that goes bottom right, and it does comfortably, that helps him as well, because he can just use that to connect to the one into right centre. He'd love to have that last shot back though.
Yeah.
Somewhere near straight in on this yellow to the top left was the order of the day. Screw back down the line towards the other yellow to bottom right. Now he's got plenty of angle. He might have to play around with the reds on the right hand side. Needs a bounce. Yeah, one half loose shot turns into a problem. A big problem.
Yeah. Just wonder. He's still got a shot. He can play the leftermost yellow to this bottom right. Is he going into the reds?
Oh, can he just see it? Yeah, he can, yeah. If he can, and he can pot it, yeah, going into the reds helps him.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That's a great recovery pot.
Oh, that's very good. Loosest shot he's played tonight, that Karl boy, is the one before. And he pulls himself out of dodge. Once again, very, very good. Two frames, boys. 2 frames, Edgar. 2 frames, boys. It's 4-2.
That's a bit more like the Karl boys break, we know.
That is so good. You just can't help but wonder why he's been, you know, messing about with his hand on the table for so long.
Well, it's been working.
I know, but I mean, look at that. I mean, any player in the world would be happy with that break, and it just came so easily to him.
Considering how powerful it was and how controlled it was, it's not the best of layouts.
No, there's work to do, isn't there? It's going to be yellows. And it looks, for my money, like there's some work to do on yellows. I don't think one on the triangle line goes anywhere.
No, I don't think it does. I wondered at first sight whether you get low on it, you can clip it back. But I don't think you can. And that's no good either.
Oh, we're going to see a row back here, I think. Either that or we're about to see something really special. He may take it on bottom left, bottom right, I should say.
He can clip the one top right in. What's the cue ball doing? Is it going into the red or does it miss the red? If it misses the red, he might be able to deal with the one in the triangle area off this shot. He was going into it. Straight's no good here. Wanted an angle to develop the yellow on the left. Hasn't got it. May just stun this one in and play the double. But still, We don't know about the one in the triangle area.
Well, someone as good as and as experienced as Karl will have a plan.
Yeah, the fact that he hasn't attacked it yet suggests that maybe there is enough potting angle. And what I mean by that is if he gets straight in on the yellow to the bottom left and replaces the yellow with the cue ball, that may just about leave the potting angle. From the overhead, it doesn't look on. From the main camera, it does.
Yeah, and that is the plan. Plays a lovely double. You can just kill the cue ball here.
Oh, there's more room than you think. He's come back to almost straight. Look at that, from the overhead, it doesn't look on. Another good finish this, though, from Karl, assuming the 8-ball goes in. Hits them well, but not well enough. It is dry, and it's another really nice leave.
Tough.
Yeah. Every chance of 4 straight off the break here for Karl. I think if he goes yellow, he's got the perfect angle to get on the yellow on the left-hand side straight away. Well, looks like he's looking down the table first. Maybe he's a touch straight on the yellow to top right. I was thinking yellow top right, get across almost straight yellow on the one under his arm. Then he's got the one in the middle of the table, then he can come down. But he's developing the one by the 8-ball first. Didn't necessarily need to develop it with a cannon. He could have gone the other way around and tried to get straight in on the yellow he's just played, top through, and then take the one he's cannon out right centre. It did have a pocket, but he had the perfect angle to break it out straight away, so he's played it.
Yeah, you do have to feel a little for Gio here, because we mentioned at the start of the match, he'd absolutely have to improve on his first performance of the night to really have any hope of taking down Karl Boys in this match. And I think it's fair to say he absolutely has improved. He's not put a foot wrong, really.
Yeah, just that one positional shot in his first chance in the second frame of the match. Other than that, he's taken everything that comes his way. 2 very good finishes to get his 2 on the board.
And from 2-2, hasn't had a poke. I don't care who you are, you're going to struggle to win matches of those kind of scraps.
I'm a little bit surprised Karl didn't go the other way around there. I know his original plan was to go top left, then bottom left and right centre and then 8-ball, but the way he landed, he was perfect on the one to bottom left, and the one he's just played would have been a perfect last ball for the 8-ball. But it's not going to cost him. An excellent controlled cannon there.
Yeah, it's just really, really elite. Very, very, very good from Karl Boys.
Gio won the next frame to stop the rot, but Karl won the following frame to put himself 1 frame away from victory. We joined Gio at the table midway through frame 11.
Gio Edgar gets a chance. Karl didn't, I don't think, fully commit to that last shot in terms of potting it. Was happy just to take the pocket. So will Gio get his opportunity to stay in the match, to stay in the tournament? He's not going to go off from there, is he?
No, but he hasn't jawed himself again, has he? I think he has. That's unbelievable. 2 frames on the trot, jawed in the same way. And yeah, if we're being ultra critical, he's overhit the shot. You know, he could have been, 6 inches, 8 inches more maybe short there, but that still feels very unlucky.
He's got a recovery, but it's tough. Cut to the right centre. has to judge the cue ball really well.
I guess the other side of the coin is he on another day goes in off, so he doesn't have the opportunity to recover. But either way, it feels like it's going to cost him the match, or that will be his last involvement in the match.
Yeah, that was tough. Had to concentrate a lot on the cue ball there to get anywhere near to what we'd consider a good position. But that should be that. Karl Boys should be safely through. Only just hearing the beeps of the 15-second shot clock. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, a very successful night in the end for Karl Boys. Two really good performances. First against the very game Scott Crawley, and then against the very good Gio Edgar. Another night it might have gone another way for Gio, but Karl, superb tonight, really.
A top-class performance from Karl Boys, and that puts him through to the second stage of the Masters. The whole night is available to watch back on Ultimate Pool TV, or if you're looking forward to next week, this is what we have for you. Sean Story is the big headline act, the top seed, the only Ultimate Pool professional in this group. He's joined by Morgan McGuinness, Pete Fisher and Phil Marriott for week 32 of Ultimate Pool, the Masters.